Most people don't lose their integrity all at once. They lose it at threshold, in an argument, in a moment of urgency, in a room where everyone else is saying yes. Pressure doesn't destroy character, it reveals what governs it. I'm Kay McLeod, and this is Integrity Under Pressure, a podcast about self governance, consequence literacy, and how to protect your integrity when willpower isn't enough. Because integrity isn't a personality trait, it's a governance skill. There is only one you, but there are different systems that run through you: a calm system, a regulated system, a clear system, and then a tired system, a depleted system, an overwhelmed system. And depending on which system is active, your behavior changes. So the question is, if the behavior shifts, but the person doesn't, what's actually running you? You can tell a lot about a person when they have energy. You can tell almost nothing about their integrity because energy is a performance enhancer. It makes you sound wise, it makes you patient, it makes you generous, it makes you believe your values are who you are. And then you get tired. Not, I need a nap tired. I mean, really tired. The day ran long, you didn't eat right, your nervous system has been engaged all day. Your tolerance is thin, your thinking is slower. That is not a character flaw. That is the human operating system. And this is where most people break their own trust. Not because they are bad, not because they are weak, because they build a life that only works when they feel good. So let me say this cleanly: you do not rise to your values when you're tired, you fall to your structure. When energy drops, willpower drops, patience drops, discipline drops. So what's left? Not motivation, structure. And this matters because tired is no longer an exception. For most people, it's the baseline. You are managing more than your biology was designed for. So let me say this cleanly: you do not rise to your values when you're tired, you fall to your structure. When energy drops, willpower drops, patience drops, discipline drops. So what's left? Not motivation, structure. And this matters because tired is no longer an exception. For most people, it's the baseline. You are managing more than your biology was designed for: more input, more decisions, more pressure, more noise. And then, on top of that, you try to be better. That's not a strategy, that's a hope. The real test is simple: what holds when you don't? Because people don't fail in big moments. They fail in small ones. They fail at the end of the day, in the kitchen, in the car at 6:47 p.m. when one more thing is asked of them and their system is already depleted. And then they react. And right after comes the collapse. I can't believe I said that. Whoosh, that's not me. I'm better than that. No, you are not the problem. The system that was running is. Let me break something that keeps people stuck. Most people believe their intent protects them. I didn't mean it. I care. I have values. Intent is not governance. Intent is preference. And preferences do not run your nervous system when your resources are low. Because when you're fatigued, your brain becomes efficient, not wise. Efficient. It looks for shortcuts. It defaults. It reacts. That's not a personality issue. That's biology. So if your defaults are weak, tired will expose it. If your standards are vague, tired will override them. And this is why you can be a good person and still behave in ways you don't respect when you're depleted. Let me make this real. There was a day I was tired and hungry, not slightly, I mean fully depleted. And I had my period, so my baseline regulation was already lower. The kids were doing what kids do: noise, movement, needs, interruptions, and I lost it on my 10-year-old. Not a correction, not a boundary. I was sharp, I was loud, I was too much. And the worst part, I could feel it while it was happening. That moment when you're, watching yourself and you still don't interrupt it. And then after the drop, regret, shame, frustration. Regret because you overshot. Shame because you broke your own standard. Frustration because you felt out of control. And this is where most people get it wrong. They turn that moment into identity. I'm a bad parent. I ruin things. I have issues. No, that moment did not reveal who I am. It revealed what system was running, and it revealed what I had not yet structured. Because here's what I understand now. One, that moment is predictable when I'm depleted, not because I'm broken, because the system is under resourced. Two, if I wait until that moment to behave differently, I will fail every time. So I stopped relying on willpower and I started building structure because the goal is not to feel less. The goal is to remain in charge of what runs through you. Now, let's ground this in something real. There are two things happening here: decision fatigue and cognitive fatigue. Decision fatigue means the more decisions you make, the worse your decisions get over time. Because every choice costs energy. And when that energy drops, you default. You default to easy, to reactive, to impulsive. Cognitive fatigue goes deeper. It reduces your ability to pause, to regulate, to choose. So when people say, I don't know what happened, I just snapped, that's not random. That's a system taking over when another one is offline. You didn't become more honest, you became less governed. And this is the shift. Tired doesn't create your behavior, it reveals what runs by default. So the real question is not, why did I do that? It's, what system was in charge? Because most people don't have systems, they have intentions. I want to be calm. I want to be patient. That's not a system. That's a preference. So when pressure meets depletion, they fail. Let me simplify it. If your phone has 2% battery, it doesn't perform better, it reduces. Your body does the same. Tired is low power mode. So, what holds in low power mode? Not personality, structure. Three things: design, defaults, standards. Design is what you set up before you're tired. If you're always depleted at the same time every day, that's not random, that's design. Defaults are what happens automatically when fatigue hits, not what you try to do, what actually happens. Standards are what you don't renegotiate, even when you feel off. Because every time you renegotiate your standards, you weaken your authority over yourself. And people feel that, not your intensity, your inconsistency. Now, back to that moment with my child. The old pattern was simple: I react, I repair, I promise, then I repeat. That's not growth, that's a loop. The shift was this: if I'm depleted, I am not reliable. So I stopped pretending. I installed a standard, a system. I do not parent on empty, not perfectly, but structurally, because pretending has a cost. And the cost is passed on to people who didn't choose it. Now let's zoom out. This isn't just parenting, this is leadership, this is relationships, this is daily life. People hold it together outside and collapse at home, or become sharp or shut down. That's not character, that's depletion without structure. And here's where people get it wrong: they try to fix tired with mindset. But tired is often physiological. You can be emotionally aware and still be hungry. So, if you keep solving the wrong problem, guess what? You will keep getting the same result. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fail to the level of your systems. That removes illusion. Your intentions will not save you, your structure will. Integrity is not how you perform when you feel good. Integrity is what holds when you don't. So, tired days are not failure, they are data. So, instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What system was missing?" Because for me, that moment didn't start with my child. It started earlier, ignoring signals, pushing through, treating my body like an inconvenience, then expecting myself to perform at the end. That's not real. So I changed the chain. When I feel the signal, I interrupt. Food, water, pause, less input, simplify. Because your child doesn't need your lesson, they need your regulation. Same with your partner, same with your team. So here's the real question: where does your depletion become someone else's burden? Look there. That's your work. And I'll leave you with this: if your integrity depends on your energy, is it really integrity? Or is it just performance? And if it is performance, what would you build so it still holds when you don't? If this episode did anything, let it be this: you saw the pattern. Pressure is not the problem. The question is whether you govern yourself inside it. Hold that and decide what you're no longer willing to do on autopilot. Because integrity isn't a personality trait, it's a governance skill. I'll see you on the next episode.